translate that into a business? I'm asking you to ask yourself the question, and in doing so, to dispel the following 3 myths. Myth number 1, that starting a business is risky. And guess what? It is. I'm not going to lie to you. But I would argue that having a job nowadays is risky too. Second myth. Second myth is that you have to have somebody else's money to start a business.
Nope.
Let me give you the quick statistics. 80% of the capital for startup companies comes from the founders. 80%. Not from a bank, not from an investor, not from an angel, not from the government. It comes from the founders. Now, third myth. If you're like me and you're saying, okay, look, Randal, it comes from the founders, I'm broke. Because I was broke when I started my company. I was broke like a joke. I was real broke. This third statistic I'll give you is that 50% of successful businesses start with $20,000 or less. 1/3 of successful businesses start with $10,000 or less. And hear this, 10%. 1 out of every 10 successful companies starts with $1,000 or less.
That's me.
I was in the category of or less. I started with nothing. And I had no one in my family who could afford to give me anything. And in fact, had someone in my family given me anything, say my grandfather gave me $1,000, my grandfather would have been in the office every day saying, what are you doing with my money? When am I going to get it back? No, don't do that, do this to get me my money. I had nothing. My family had nothing. And so I had to go with the difficult route, which is what we call bootstrapping, where you have to basically take nothing, figure out how to convince clients to give you a contract, and then use some of the upfront money to fuel the growth of the company itself. Our first client, believe it or not, was a nonprofit called the National Action Council for Minorities in Engineering. Our second client was UNCF. It's our second client, working with HBCU students, believe it or not, 15, 20 years ago. So my point is the following. I had a dream, along with my 3 roommates in college, that we would one day be business owners, despite the fact that all of us had nothing. And I sit here before you today in 2010, 15 years after we had that dream on the campus of Rutgers University, and the 4 of us, all 4 black men, with nothing, we now sit at the helm of a multi-million-dollar consulting firm, the 4 of us. And so, if being in business as a new entrant is about making something out of nothing, being resourceful, as I described before, it can be done. It can be done. And in fact, it's been done over the course of our community's history. And if there's any of you on the fence, they're out there thinking, well, maybe, maybe not, I don't know if it's for me, I can only say to you what Nike has been saying to years, just do it. Don't delay, don't deny, just do it. Third and final E, the entrepreneurs. I wanted to say this, and this is actually a lesson not just for the entrepreneurs. How many of you own a business now? Just by show of hands. How many of you actually have a business now? Okay, this is my last point. I'm going to get off the stage and maybe take questions. And again, this is a lesson not just for entrepreneurs, but for all of us. But I'm going to put it in the context of entrepreneurship. The message I can give to you as somebody who owns a business is the following. It is not the individual that is the metaphor of success. It is the team. It is the team. One of my favorite books is a book called Good to Great by a gentleman named Jim Collins. Shout out to those who read Good to Great. Awesome read. It is a bit of a study of what has differentiated good companies from great companies. When I say good, I don't mean bad companies. I mean companies that have performed very well versus the great companies that have outperformed the good companies. And one of the principles of being great in Collins' book is a principle that he describes as who and then what. Who and then what? What do I mean by that? The good leader, not the great leader, the good leader thinks what and then who. What should we be doing and then who can help us get there? Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. That makes sense to me. You think about what you want to do and then you think of who's going to help you get there. Does that make sense to you? It makes intuitive sense to me. Collins says, no, that's not how it works. The way it works is the great leader thinks who and then what? Who do I need on my team? And then once they're on the team, What should we be doing together? I'll give you an example. How many of you know Oprah Winfrey? Everybody should know Oprah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How many know Oprah Winfrey? Raise your hand, you know Oprah Winfrey. Everybody raise their hand. You didn't raise your hand. Do you know Oprah in the gray suit? All right, there we go. Now I got you. You know the story. Oprah abused as a child, won the Miss Tennessee beauty pageant with the Tennessee State. I know Tennessee State's in the house. She caught the eye of her local radio producer, got her own radio show, then translated that to her television show. But all the while, Oprah was an employee, right? Worked for the radio station, worked for ABC with her Oprah Winfrey program. And so Oprah's going through her career, like you will go through your career, and she's thinking to herself, getting back to what I said about passion and gifts, her passion is for helping people, her gift is communication. You know, Oprah used to interview the crows on the fence of her parents' home. She interviewed the crows, she used to interview her dolls too. Had a natural inclination toward being inquisitive and toward good communication. So Oprah's thinking to herself, I hate all of this business stuff. I hate the accounting, the operations, the back office. I don't like any of that. It's not my gift, it's not my passion. I don't want to do it. Who do I need on my team to do it? She finds a gentleman named Jeff Jacobs. How many people know Jeff Jacobs? I got one hand, two hands, three hands on Jeff Jacobs. She finds Jeff Jacobs. Jeff Jacobs was a lawyer. Says to Oprah, Oprah, I will handle all of it. I love it. That's my passion, that's my gift. Oprah thinks who first? Jacobs. Jacobs, it's all yours. The accounting, the back office, the administration, handle it all. I'll be the face of Harpo. You get it done behind the scenes. So now she gets the who piece down. Jacobs comes to Oprah and says, Oprah, I got an idea. She says, what? I think you can own the show. Go on the internet or go on your phone. And here's a direct quote from Oprah in response to what Jacob says. Oprah says, you're crazy. To Jacob, says, you're crazy. You can't own the show. Get out of here, man. Come on, go back to work. Says, Oprah, I can do it. Oprah says to Jacobs, if you do the deal, I'll give you 10% of Harpo. Folks' heads lit up on that one. So what happens? Jacobs does the deal, Oprah gives him 10%, and now Jacobs is quietly as wealthy as Oprah and nobody knows him. That's why I want to be wealthy and anonymous, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to be. Nobody comes looking for you, family can't track you down. And now today, because of Oprah's who and then what, she's the only person I know who puts herself on the cover of her own magazine and still sells out. That's a bad woman. That's a bad woman. And the only black woman billionaire on this planet. Why? Because she thought who first, and then what? So how does that synthesize all of what I've said for the employees, for the entrepreneurs, for the new entrants? The relationships that you're building in this room and on your campuses are priceless. You've got folk in this room who will go on to become corporate executives, multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs, PhDs, MBAs, MDs, JDs, university professors, corporate executives, elected officials, pastors, doctors, lawyers, teachers, preachers, take your pick. All I'm saying to you is, keep these connections. Maintain these ties, these relationships to Mark, to me, to each other. Because when we pull our energy together, when we pull our resources, when we pull our intellect together, when we pull our power together, we are unstoppable. Do you hear me? We are unstoppable. And it's finding the right combination of what you love to do, your passion, your gifts, combining it with somebody else's passion and their gifts, the things that you don't want to do that they love to do. When you can find that strength in numbers, you can do anything. You can do anything. My story is yet another testament. I've got 3 business partners who I met in college. We were all campus officers. We came in together, we studied together, we partied together, we graduated together, we got in trouble together. Now we're in a multi-billion-dollar business together. That's my message to you, is to maintain these connections, folks, because they will last you a long time. All right, let me close this out. Let me close this out. The last thing I'm going to say, which also is a reflection of what I've said, let's talk about 3 E's. I talked to the employees and talked about how do you think about multiple streams of income and not just a job. I talked to the new entrants. Talked about thinking in parallel about starting a business while also looking for jobs. Talk to the entrepreneurs, in fact to everyone, about the importance of building a team, not thinking individually. The last thing I'll say is this. I believe that the greatest asset, the greatest competitive advantage that you bring to the table, young people, are all the things that make you, you. That it is your culture, your ethnicity, your nationality, your gender, your religious background, all of those things that make you, you. Those are the very things that represent your greatest competitive advantage. That because of all the things that make you, you, you're able to see things that others can't see. You're able to do things others can't do, and because of your training at your campuses and through Thurgood Marshall, you're able to bring solutions that others can't bring. Russell Simmons wrote a book. I wrote this title down. He wrote a book. I'm gonna wrap this up. He wrote a book called, this is a long title, here's the title. He wrote a book called The 12 Laws to Access the Power in You to Achieve Happiness and Success. That's the name of the book. The 12 Laws to Access the Power in You to Achieve Happiness and Success. So he sent the book to Oprah. I don't know how Oprah keeps coming up. Sent the book to Oprah. Said, Oprah, what do you think? So I love the book, Russell, but you gotta make the title shorter. Russell says, okay, what do you suggest? Oprah says, I suggest the title, Do You. So all I'm here to say is, do you. Do what you do. Do what you do that you do well. Be yourself. Don't see your ethnicity as a liability. See it as an asset. That which can propel you, can sustain you, and can strengthen you. That you young people, you Thurgood Marshall scholars, you are the truth. You are the real deal. You are the proof that's in the pudding. You are the icing on the cake. You are too legit to quit, too strong to be wrong, too blessed to be stressed, and too anointed to be disappointed. You are the bomb. God bless you, and thank you for having me this morning.